Come join the movement, let's take AI to the next level. We're breaking barriers, rewriting the code. Together we'll conquer, watch our ideas unfold. The future starts here, joining the revolution. Let's say our podcast, the ultimate solution.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. This is Best AI Podcast, episode 34, if I'm correct. Sometimes I lose count, Kyrie, so I apologize. If you don't know me, Leland Best of Best Live TV, also the host of Best AI TV, which we're broadcasting to now out on YouTube and on LinkedIn on my profile, along with my Facebook profile and probably a couple other places that I hang out. Along with me today is my good buddy Kyrie Taylor from Sekou Designs. Welcome to the broadcast, buddy.
Hey, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, y'all.
Yeah, it's got to get through it, right? One of those ways
Yeah.
or another. It's been a long 2 days for me already. Monday, I was prepping all for an event, big Nurses Day or Nurses Week 2025 to all the nurses out there. If you're watching, we just did it was supposed to be a huge event for White Glove, which is kind of a big caring facility. They've got a lot of nurses on staff. We invited 2,600 to the event last night at 8:30, and John Peasy was the entertainment talent. If you don't know who John Peasy is, do a quick search on YouTube for John Peasy, AGT, semifinalist season 6 and 7, I believe, as well. Comedian, ventriloquist, mentalist, and he brought his buddy Tie-Dye Eddie with him, which was really kind of cool. It was like, I've never watched a tie-dye presentation before, dude, but that was kind of stellar. It was, yeah, let's just leave it at
That was colorful.
that. Yeah, it was very colorful and comedic. Johnny's a comedic magician. So everything he does has a flair of like old school slapstick comedy into it. And I've known John for years. We go way back. And so I'm basically his producer. And when it comes to live events, we sit down and we do shows for corporate events and things like that.
Hmm.
And he's just really good. He's fun to be around. He's a lot of laughs. And if you watch the episode with him, and he was actually being judged by Howie Mandel, Howard Stern, and Mrs. Osborne. So if you were to see that episode, he did a really cool ventriloquist act using video renditions of the judges and voiced over those things that he put on the computer to build. It was really cool. He's a little bit of a techie geek himself, so we like hanging out together. But enough of that. We'll talk about that though later on today because I'm thinking about getting him involved in AI. He's got a magic shop that he runs, and so we're thinking about setting him up with some automations and some marketing materials so that we can infuse some AI into his magic shop. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's one of those one-offs, like I like to do. So, what
Yeah.
about you? What have you been working on, Kyrie? What's been the latest?
Yeah, man. Kind of like a continuation from a couple of weeks ago, man. I've just been head down in the weeds, lining things up, knocking things down. I'll be having some really cool, exciting announcements coming soon around some of the educational content that I'm creating. I'll be, you know, giving some info on that. Essentially, obviously, there will be a piece of that that will be derived and targeted towards AI, but also
Secret
something
stuff.
some people who know me know, but people who don't. And I haven't really discussed it here on this podcast is the fitness side of things. Fitness and nutrition is something I'm
Mhm.
really big on, so I'll be launching some stuff related to that soon. But yeah, man,
Cool.
I've been we head down in the weeds, just knocking things out, keeping my ear to the streets, the AI streets, so to speak. But
You almost have to, don't
um,
you?
yeah, you have to, man. You take shoot, take 12 hours off, and there's a
It's
new lead.
tough.
So
I have a hard time keeping up so often. I mean, literally, you take a week off, you're 2 months behind.
yeah,
It's
that's the
like,
it's the that's the reason why it's like if it's like most industries that
mhm.
push the needle
Yeah.
consistently. I think AI has disrupted what that even means,
Oh,
right?
for
Because
sure.
it's literally like an hour to hour thing. But it's like most industries, if you don't genuinely enjoy that
Mhm.
aspect of it, you won't last very long in this space because
No.
it's constantly evolving, right? I think it's kind of a natural progression for me because as a traditionally trained web developer, it's the same thing, right? Like there's a new API out. If you don't know how to leverage that API or a new framework out, if you don't know how to leverage that framework, then you're falling behind the curve. That's more of a 6 month to a year gap until recently. But yeah, I mean, it's par for the course for me.
I'm
So
just
I've
having a
been,
hard I'm having a hard time just keeping up with the latest and greatest. It's
yeah,
like sometimes you just want to pause for a minute and say, man, I'm having fun right here. I just want to play here for a while. I don't want to think about, is this one better than that one? Or is this one doing something I'm not getting from this one? It's like this constant competitive, let's say, battle of AI has become kind of this ping pong game back and forth where you're just,
yeah.
do I go here? Do I go there? Do I go here? Do I go there? And I don't want to be there anymore. I kind of want to just settle in. And I think this is where, personalized AI takes a big forefront because people are realizing that they don't need to settle for what the norm is. The
Yeah.
go to Grok, go to OpenAI, go to whatever. You can build your own now if you want. You can just go out there, find the software and the tools, and build anything, honestly. I did a test, Kyrie. Have you played much with these AI site builders and things like that? I know you're talking about going old school and developing a site here soon, just using the standard techniques that everybody used to love and enjoy. And I still do because I play like that.
Yeah, for sure.
What have you
That's
built in some of
I've
those
played
already?
around with them, but nothing super serious. Like it's literally been those, I think what I've seen that's interesting lately is that everything is a single sign-on experience. So
Hmm.
it's like they don't even put pricing pages on their main page. It's like you have to log in to touch and feel the tool in order to see anything. And it's
Hmm.
like, hey, upgrade. Now you can see the pricing. So a lot of my interactions with these things have been like that, where it's like I find this tool, I hear somebody say something about it, and I go in and I spend like maybe 15, 20 minutes with it playing around and kicking the tires. It's a weird space for me because me being a web dev and a
Hmm.
graphic slash web designer by trade,
Hmm.
and just being super analytical and a perfectionist by nature, the little nuances to how it's not quite where I need it to be, kind of deter me. Similar to like presentation AI presentation templates like Gamma AI, it's
Ah,
really cool, right?
yeah.
But at the same time, I like a level of granularity that it can't provide me. So until such time as it meets that acceptance criteria, I kind of defer to my old ways and optimize that with AI. So it's kind of the same thing. I don't have anything to pull away from it. Hence me going to redesign my own personal website, uh, doing it the old-fashioned way-ish. Still obviously leveraging AI, but yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And I was sitting down the other day thinking, because I lost a portal. I bought a lifetime deal on an AI design app. Okay, and it was called Design. And I gotta call him out because I hate to say it, but Bertrand dropped the ball on this one. Design is an app that was a combination, and it's DEZYGN. If you're out looking to buy this app, please be forewarned, you will lose. And I'm not to press on the issues that caused that to happen, but it did. The owner lost control of the project, and the site's kind of defunct now, but it does still work in some areas and not in others. Well, there was a bunch of AI generated content machining going on for the part of the app, and then there was another section that was an agency. It's called Agency Zine, and you could basically have a service portal for all your AI clients and things like that, where they could make requests through the portal, and then you could service them on the back end. So
Mm.
I had a button set up on my website for service. Press this button, and you had all the a la carte services that you could select from me to work under. Well, it went dead one day, and I'm like, wow, what happened? So I've been having to build my own way of servicing my clients through a portal. And I want to make it something that I own. I don't want to rely anymore on a third party source to provide that. You know that. You build back ends and front ends on, well, at least front ends on WordPress sites and things like that for anything group related or anything like that where you got more people coming in. Well, I sat down and thought, well, it's time to learn these site programs. Let's just figure out how to do this. So I was going to do a test. Now I've noticed my things lagging again with video when I pull up a desktop share, but I'm going to try and get through this real quick. So what I've got is three sites a lot of people are familiar with, and I'm going to start with one that's actually offering a free year right now through the secret site, secret dot. This one's called bolt.new, and I've brought it up on this site before. It's a single sentence. You start a web production, whatever it is you want to create. Well, I did one the other day just to play around. I put 3 of them to the test because I wanted to create a portal, a client portal, okay? And what I was attempting to do, I'll show you the prompt here real quick so you get an understanding where I started with this. I think this is the right one. Yep, this is it. And Bolt broke during this process, but I'm going to show you what happened with the other 2. So I needed a modern and clean, oh, maybe it did finally finish. Looks like it did finish, right? Maybe it fixed it. Because you can get these apps, if they break, to go back through and try to fix their own content with their own brains. But this was the prompt. I need a modern and clean AI audio video agency client services portal. Client lists, project lists, and service requests should use tiles or cards for adding icons, images to represent projects, products, and services. Front end for customers to log in using email, password, or Google sign-in. Admin side should have user account data and form submittal process that allows for an a la carte service request by selecting on a model menu. Includes categories and services aligning with best studios, best live TV, AIO, CRM, etc. There are AI components to include, such as chatbots, CRMs, and typical digital marketing agency type requests, along with other audio video production requests. Use 3D effects on buttons and blah, 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 so just to get fancy. Well, this one broke the first time I tried building it, Kyrie. I was like, it just got code and it broke, and I tried to have it fix it. It tried to fix it, it broke. It tried to fix it a third time, it broke. And in all that time, Lovable came up with something for me. So Lovable popped up, and what I ended up with there, let me see if I can get to my Leland's Lovable here. Here's the one that this one built. Same prompt, same exact prompt. So, and then I went to Ray's Easy Site, which is another one. And
Program mouse back.
okay, let's see what we got now. You good? Say something to me. Say something to me, Kevin.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're good. All right, we're better. Sorry, folks. Looks like the desktop share broke us after all, and that's what you're seeing right now is just the leftovers from that. What I'm going to do is kind of refrain from that at the moment because obviously there's something going on with my Zoom account. I don't know what it is, Kyrie. It seems like I do fine. Any other productions I do are just fantastic. I get out here on Best AI Podcast and I try to share a screen, and Zoom hates me. It just locks everything up and throws me out of their system. So what I intended to do there was show you guys the development process and what the external result was. I'll tell you right now, I could have simply started with Ray's from Easy Site and attached a database, and I would have been done with it. I had all the pages, I had all the cards, all the projects, all the checkout, the Google sign-in was there, the shopping, everything was there. The other ones, and I only did one iteration on Ray's to do the branding because it didn't use my best AI branding. It made its own AI portal branding. per se.
Hmm.
So I just added an additional prompt, but I was able to do it on his site while the other two was still working.
Yeah.
Okay, so his had finished the site right away, and I'll bring those results to the table in a video. I plan on making one anyway, so that's I'm just gonna wait. Obviously, I've got issues with Zoom. I have to take care of
Yeah.
first. Apologize
Yeah. I
for
mean,
that.
it's, it's one of those things, man. I don't know. I think that's part of my issue with kind of like the trajectory. Like I've been in environments where traditional dev environments where it's like dev is great, prod not so much, and vice
Yeah.
versa, right?
Hmm.
So solving for those different things is a little bit difficult. I think it's just one of those things where it's hit or miss until it's not. And you like the easy site from Ray, I have a specific project
Hmm.
that I want to test out on that
Yeah, let's do it.
that I'm gonna probably be working on here in the next week once I get to a milestone for what I'm currently working on and been working on.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like of the ones that I've seen, I feel like that one is gonna possibly be my go-to for one-off like
Same.
designs.
Yeah.
Just because the having the built-in database features is like that solves a big deal
Mhm.
of some of the things when you get to more complex, like even just web apps, right? So yeah, I got an idea as to what I want to do with that, but yeah, I haven't found one yet that I'm like gonna go to exclusively.
Hmm.
It's like I treat those like I treat the LLMs. It's like, well, let me throw this one at it and see how what sticks and see if it's better at this or not.
Yeah.
So
What else can you do really at this point? I
yeah,
see it as an experimental process that's still in play, only because I haven't been able to settle. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have fully decided on what they're going to use for their go-to. Like a coder might decide, nope, I'm Claude all the way. I'm never going to change my mind. I don't care what anybody says. That's just my go-to because I'm happy with it. And like for me, I'm happy with Merlin. I go to Merlin
yeah,
every day to build my projects. I go to Merlin every day to get choice answers from various LLMs all at the same time, not remembering that I shouldn't rely on one source. I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket, that I should let them all answer for their, take on that prompt
yeah,
that I give them. I think that's important for everybody. That
yeah.
take that one prompt across every one of them and see what kind of result you get first.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like when you think specifically about the no code editors, the shiny object syndrome is that everybody can be a developer, everybody can be a designer
Mhm.
now, which to a certain extent is kind of true, right? We are way further than we were even 3 months ago with someone being able to clearly or not so clearly articulate what they're looking for and getting a result that's like 75 to 90% where they are, right? I think when it comes to vetting those things, a lot of it comes down to the specific use case and some of the things that you keep an eye to as you approach that project, right? Like some of them have specific custom overrides for things like CSS, JSS, things like that, right? I am very much a proponent of that. If I can't tweak it, then I don't want it,
Yeah.
right? It's probably also the reason why I'm an Android user and I don't adopt to the iPhone
Too
methodology.
siloed for me. Yeah, I can't use an iPhone. I'm
Yeah,
not that
but
guy.
like things like SEO control,
Hmm.
does it do you have to audit the page's content, things like that? Um, and to your point that you just made, avoiding things like vendor lock-in, because that will put you in a situation like what you just said, where it's like, okay, if they drop the ball, we drop the ball,
Yeah.
and I don't have a level of control that I'm comfortable with, so I'm out. Security audits, and then I think the biggest thing for most people to take away from that is before you can make decisions on what the specific tool meets, you
Hmm.
have to have a very clear project scope, right? You need to document what you want the design to look like, what kind of performance you're looking for. What are even the integration requirements, right? Do you need more than just Stripe to be integrated with this platform? You know what I mean? Like those things come into play when you're doing it. So you got to kind of plan to build before you hit generate. It's very similar to how some of my clients, when we have that, like, are you AI ready assessment? It's like, well, I'm much more a fan of eliminating things prior to
Oh yeah.
doing that. Because
Clean
if
house
you
before
it
you go automate
100%.
anything.
And a lot of people don't seem to get that. And it's like they're
Oh,
such in a rush to like, oh, I need to be able to have the AI tagline in my advertisement. It's like, dude, you might not be ready yet.
no. No, there's a lot
You
of
know?
people that aren't ready yet. And it's a lot of it's mindset, I think,
Oh, for sure.
and education, like we've always spoken of, that not everybody gets how it works, so they think it can do things that we know it can't,
Right.
or they think it can't do things that we know it can. And there's other aspects to that that are a dual-edged sword for a lot of us, because when we play with it and we think it can do something that it can't, then we find ourselves in a pickle and we're just like, oh shoot, I really thought it was going to be able to do this and it doesn't do it
Yeah.
right. Then you've got to look at models that I've done setups for, like cold emailing campaigns with AI personalization, that if I just flip a switch from one LLM to another, the results are extreme. I mean, you're
Dude,
talking
model to model,
way off
even.
base.
Even model to model within the same one. Like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
from Claude 3.5 to 3.7 or ChatGPT 4 mini high to
Hmm.
4.0 or those subtle differences specifically based on what you're doing is a reason why and everybody gets aggravated with model saturation, right? It's like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
know which one to pick and this, that, and the other. And I know
it's
that
true.
OpenAI has specifically said that they are trying to mitigate that for most people. They're trying to get the one ring to rule them all, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I'm
But
sure.
it's very difficult at the current state. And as people in this space, we understand that. But simply like if you're working with spreadsheets, there may be a specific model that you want to rock with just simply because it's much better at that level of reasoning, right?
Yep, yep.
If you're trying to be creative, pick a different one because you're not going to get the same result. You don't want to sound robotic and technical, then pick the one that's not robotic and technical,
Yeah,
right?
and there's cost
Um,
factors too involved with that, because you're dealing with reasoning versus simple conversational output. You got to
yeah,
be careful that you're not applying the wrong model for a simpler task and spending all kinds of money on tokens that you shouldn't have to, because then
for sure.
if you're pushing out automations by the thousands, you're talking millions of dollars, and that's just
Yeah,
not where you
for
want to
sure.
be.
And then even when you're just prompting them, right? Like even if you're just manually prompting, like let's say that you're not, let's take let's look at the low-hanging fruit of what most people
Yeah,
leverage like the LLMs
sure.
for. It's like, hey, if you know that this model has a tendency to give you more technical jargon, you can prompt it to mitigate that. You can say, hey, I want you to limit the amount of technical jargon you put in here. Keep this at a third grade reading level at the highest,
Hmm.
right? And give me the response. But before you do that, I want you to validate you completely understand the ask and what your methodology is going to be to handle that task before going. And then I'll let you know that you can go. So putting some like, blinders on, so to speak, for what your use case is can be
Hmm.
super
Hmm.
beneficial when you're leveraging just the simple LLM prompt mechanism, right?
Yep.
Um, and I think a lot of people get away from that and then they find themselves saying no over and over and over. No, I want this. No, I want this. No, I want this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like,
I
okay,
I have three terms I use. One of them is Hemingway's writing methods, is one
mhm,
that you can pull
yeah,
up as a prompt to give to an AI, and it'll kind of follow those guidelines that Hemingway put
yeah,
into place a long time ago. And also, just the term humanize is one that will take it away from sounding technical or static or mundane or kind of, monotone and effort that it does things. It will liven it up a little bit and give it a more personalized effect, and even the way it responds to
yeah.
it'll have an empathetic feel to some. And that's another thing, throw in those kind of words like empathize with, or tell it to sympathize with the client and things of that nature. You can get much better responses on a conversational basis.
hmm hmm
So it does that.
Yeah, and I think it's important in whatever way, whatever use case you're using, you have to keep an eye to what it looks like for you and how you audit that process. Like what
Hmm.
specific metrics are we using to evaluate if an AI site builder is good enough for
Hmm.
professional use versus personal use or kicking the tires, right? Have we explored different hybrid approaches where AI generates the initial structure, but maybe you hand that off to a developer to customize it to save 30% of the project time or
Yep.
something like that, right?
Yep.
What's the total cost of ownership when you're factoring in the potential vendor lock-in, right? Is it worth it? um,
It's
Based
hard to
off
say.
future customization needs and technical debt and things like that, because a lot of people lose sight to that. In a normal project, people have to adhere to understanding those things, right?
Yep.
But when the simple word of AI comes into it, a lot of people just forego the things that have worked for years. And they don't understand, like for the most people, the thing that AI does is very good at recognizing patterns. And there's a bias in that,
Hmm. Hmm.
plain and simple. So you have
Yeah,
to
for
solve for
sure.
that stuff.
Yeah, we've been working. What we're finding with Jim Hankins and I at Cloud Bedrock, he has helped me to understand because he's a big messaging guy, ex Cisco, he's built
Yeah.
apps for a lot of big names, and he knows what he's
Jim's a beast,
doing.
man.
And when you sit down with him and he sees how messaging plays such a huge part in the AI process, look at this. We got someone. I appreciate you being out here, Miss Taylor. Great tips. I guess I need to start a spreadsheet with which platform works best for certain projects. Absolutely. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. I just read a really cool post on AI prompts for entrepreneurs, which is run by Jonathan Mast on Facebook. I highly recommend his Facebook group, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't run a real Facebook group. I run a portal on AIO CRM for all this stuff. So if you are interested in ever finding out more, I've just opened up the doors for that free portal, which is aiocrm.org/portal. I'll be adding a lot more content to that over the coming weeks, months, all that kind of stuff. But Google's Notebook LLM was something that I found to be an interesting prompt they threw up today, or post, I'm sorry, about maintaining your prompts within that system's build format. And I've never been on Google's Notebook LLM yet because, like I mentioned, I use Merlin AI for a very inexpensive cost. I got their $5 a month deal, so it's $60 a year for me to access every LLM out there, basically. And it's always up to date. They keep it very well up to date. So I highly recommend you check out Google Notebook LLM as far as a place to save all your prompting that you're going to be creating for places. Google's a hard place to rely on. Keep that in mind. Things start and stop at Google all the time. So I would never put my nest egg in a 100% Google product. I just
Yeah.
can't. Email is one thing, but when it comes to accessing, your life's content that you're building a storybook of, then Google LLM is probably not the place, but it's a good place to get an understanding of how to build one for yourself.
For sure.
Use a Notion database. Use OneNote. OneNote's huge. I've actually gone back to OneNote because of its ability to do certain things. And I'll show you how here, I'll pull it up. I don't have a problem with opening this app because it's not a browser app. I should be able to show this off pretty well. It just happens to be that way sometimes. So what I do with OneNote is I take and I've formatted a bunch of tabs here. So the way this works is you have the ability to create a page, which is a tab, or basically a folder that's a tab. So I have my AI, my AIO, all my brands that I run are on a separate tab. And then if I'm running projects for other clients, then I have a tab for each client that I can come in here and just add project data to. So like in the case of my New Oaks AI podcast, I store all of my data for my mind maps and my intros and my flows and my chat references and things here. But when I'm actually in I may have a bunch of prompts here. So I have my email prompts. I have prompts for campaigns that I might be doing for someone. I've got the Lance Rule of Seven prompt that I just came across recently. An LLM security check. This is a really cool prompt that I came across on, I believe, Jonathan Mast's Facebook site that allows me to test an LLM to see if there's any holes in the system that could be leaking my data out to other public sources. So it's something that people should really consider is finding a prompt that can help you determine whether your LLM is safe or not. Workflows, things of that. Anything I save here as a document that's related to AI, I just paste in here. And it doesn't have to be just here. I can paste anything I want anywhere, really. I mean, it's that simple to work with. So along the lines of Notion, along the lines of Obsidian, all of that, you have a place to store all your prompts. But I think a lot of the apps are doing the same nowadays, giving you places to store your prompts within the systems. So use them wisely. But like we mentioned through all this, test that prompt through the models you think you're going to use and each and every one of them to
Yeah.
see what kind of results you're getting from that prompt and then engineer the prompt around the LLM.
Yeah. You bring up the safety of what you're sharing, right? Like the making sure that the things that you're putting in there are safe
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people don't realize that if you just modify your workflow and how you do these kinds of things, right? Like maybe if you're in Chat GPT, you're doing a temporary window. Technically, by way of what they talk about, that stuff's not supposed to be saved. Technically, none of your data is supposed to be saved per se. It's just leveraged to educate the and make the product better, right? But you can turn that off if you're on the paid tier. Like supposedly you can turn that off. Um, Making sure that you keep a level of continuity and cleanliness to what is actually remembered, right? There's been
Yeah.
multiple times where I've just like I've been in conversation with somebody, and I pull open ChatGPT and I'm just having a general conversation, and I have to go back in and say, hey, forget all of that because none of that is context that I want you to remember
Mhm.
for me, her, specifically. I was just
Yep.
given a demo. So I think it's important to make sure that you think about those things prior to what you're going to leverage it for and
True.
mitigate what you might share that shouldn't be shared prior to actually going into it, right? But yeah, man, I think everybody has their individual use cases and what they're comfortable with doing and what they're not comfortable with doing. So it's important to keep that top of mind as you start the next workflow because it's easy to get
Absolutely.
wrapped up in it.
Yeah, and I think what we need to do a lot too is separate our prompts out into a lot of, are you doing ideation? Are you doing
Yeah.
research? Are you doing content creation? Are you doing image generation? There's all kinds of breakdowns that we need to do. And oh, here's an example of like the Hemingway's rules I talked about earlier. This is a prompt that I use for research and ideation using Perplexity and Gemini Deep Search. So, and that's why it was tailored. It was tailored for that LLM, and it
Yeah.
gets the best response using that LLM. So, here's a simple example: Hemingway's rules, research mode, task, research whatever topic for a blog post creation. Generate a comprehensive research brief, identify topics of 5 trending subtopics, and you give it the breakdown of everything you're looking for. So the idea is to come up with an outline and a draft, and then ensure the content matches the brand voice. And that's really
Yeah.
the gist of what you're trying to do. So you want to make sure you build out a prompt that has attention to all of these aspects. If you don't, and here, like
Right.
Kyrie was mentioning, seventh grade reading level here, when you start getting into more aggregated content about specifics, you got to up the grade a little bit. I mean, fifth grade reading level is perfect for general public, third to fifth
Yeah.
grade. But when you start getting into advanced topics, you need to up that game a little bit for people and get the writing format down proper. So,
Yeah.
seventh grade reading level is really appropriate for about 90% of the people that you're going to touch base in. And that's not to insult intelligence in any way, shape, or form. It's just most people have cognitive skills at seventh grade reading level
Yeah.
to understand most
It's
concepts.
yeah, it's definitely more of an accessibility thing, right? I like one of my natural teaching mechanisms is I am a fairly vernacular person, right? Like I
Mhm.
I use large words just because it's a part of my
Yeah.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
And what I've found is when in teaching or having conversation with people, I inherently build in that seventh to eighth grade reading level post stating what I'm going to state because to me it solves two things. One, it allows me to actually speak organically and like be genuine, like this is how I would deliver it to you. But also allow that person to level up in their understanding of what a specific terminology means. And I don't know if you have this experience, Leland, but anytime I learn a new word, I hear it everywhere for like
Oh,
first
yeah.
the 2 weeks
Always.
afterwards. So
Absolutely.
to me, I'm trying to propagate that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
It's
just
just like when you buy a new car. You didn't
you
never
see it
see that
everywhere.
car on the road until you actually
Yeah,
own one, and then they're everywhere. So same
yeah,
thing here.
for
Well,
sure.
I appreciate your time today, Kyrie, as always. I think we're gonna wrap it up, and I appreciate all those out there who are watching, especially the comment we received from our friend out there on YouTube today. So thanks so much for that. And be sure to stop by over at bestai.tv if you want to sign up for the forum to get notifications of when we do go live, which could be sporadic over the next couple of weeks. I'm only saying that because there's been a lot of turnaround for what we're doing, a lot of changeover in who we have on the podcast. And so for now, it's going to be Kyrie and myself. Lee Love may be appearing back into the game shortly. I'm not sure where he stands right now, but a lot of the others are just busy building and doing their thing. So we're not going to expect them to be here on Wednesdays at noon. I will always be here regardless. So either way, that's what we're going to hope for. And going forward, if you want to participate, simply follow us on YouTube. It's the best place to be. We do broadcast on LinkedIn and Facebook, but it's not really where our following takes place. Find me at aiocrm.org/portal, where our community hangs out and gets things done. You can't miss the logo, so be sure to check us out. Kyrie, where can everybody find you after this?
I am Kyrie Taylor pretty much everywhere. I think on TikTok, I'm officially the AI sensei. So there's that. But then also SeikuDesigns.com, as it's Seiku Designs everywhere as well. Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. SEKOU Designs. But yeah, that's it. Yep, for sure.
So if you need any help with your AI builds, whatever it might be, whether it's AI automations or just learning how to use it a little bit better and get up in your prompt game, let us know. We're happy to help. So take care until next time, Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern at Best AI Podcast. See you next time. Bye-bye.
We're breaking the mold. With AI fusion, let the story unfold. From love to business, the future is here. Unlock the potential, make it crystal clear. It's time to fuse, let the sparks ignite. AI in action, reaching you.